Hello, this is Pepper Anderson, the Black Woman Animator, coming back to you with another video. And in this video, I have Wayne Carnegie. What go on?
Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself right quick?
My name is Wayne Carnegie. Happy to be on the BlkWmnAnimator show. My name, my role is a senior servicing artist at Mainframe Studio right now. Yeah.
All right, so kind of got an intro to where you're from by my greeting, but like, where are you from and how was it growing up?
Okay, so I'm originally from Jamaica, tiny island in the Caribbean there. Famous for a lot of like reggae music and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And well, you know, I've been in Jamaica since like I was I was born there, and growing up there was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not from the city. I was born in a city like a Spanish town, for example, and
Mm-hmm.
then I moved to the country. But we didn't have access to like, for example, cartoons on television, right?
Yeah.
What I did have access to was comic straight from the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother always used to wrap China and stuff like that. I usually get the cartoon part. I usually go directly to those parts or search on the whole house just to find that. So yeah, it was good growing up there. That's how I learned how about like animation and cartoons, and
Mm-hmm.
started creating my own version of those. I started tracing at first.
Yeah.
I'd bring it to school, and kids were like amazed about it. It looks weird, but kids were, and that encouraged me to do more and more.
Mm-hmm.
I was okay in other subjects, but art just helped me to relax, and
Yeah.
a lot of trouble growing up there. Yeah.
So, like, how'd you end up staying with your grandmother? How was it living with your grandmother?
Well, my grandma had a little farm, so I
Mm-hmm.
was like a farm boy. Um, you know, it was good. It was really good. And my grandmother is a natural storyteller,
Mm-hmm.
and as I said, we didn't have access to TV, but she used to tell a lot of stories. I used to draw characters, to match those stories and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, grandma, this is the rolling calf. This is a man scene, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, good, good. Look horrible, but, she was like, encouraging, So, but it was good growing up there. Like helping out on the farm and all that kind of stuff. Like that was basically my life for from grade 1 to 9
Mm-hmm.
in Jamaica. There, I grew up with my grandmother, and that's basically what was my life. The farm life, drawing, and I was also good at track and field.
Oh, nice. What
Yeah,
what event?
I was doing 100 and 200. Yeah, I was doing 100 and 200.
Oh man, like I only did track in high school because my basketball coach made us, and I am not fast.
Yeah,
I had to do the 1 mile and 2 mile.
yeah, I was pretty fast. I was pretty fast until I reached high school, and that's another story. I reached high school, and then I realized there's a lot of kids who are like actually faster than me. So I was
Right.
like, I better stick to this art thing, you know, So, but it was good growing up in the Clarion country. It helped me be imaginative
Mm-hmm.
because I was not it helped me with the listening ears. Like, for example, we had a radio with a makeshift antenna.
Mm-hmm.
Why it's a wire. Like we have to like turn it. We're like, oh, it's 97.5. We have to turn it around, and we finally hit a channel, and we'll listen like the daily news or talk shows and stuff like that. So that was our entertainment, and a lot of in addition to that, there was a lot of community where people meet up and tell stories,
Yeah.
fires, and we roasting corns and stuff like that, and like just telling stories, and So it was a different stuff versus when I go back to the city in Spanish Town, Jamaica. I was exposed to Power Rangers, Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah.
Princess Mononoke, the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
And that I was like, that opened up a whole new thing for me, So yeah.
Yeah. I remember, later in life when I was listening to Harry Potter on audiobook, I remember thinking like, oh man, I wish I had never seen the characters, because I wonder what my imagination would have done
Yes.
just reading the book. And so
Yes.
sometimes your imagination is better than the movie.
Yeah, I built up like I'm saying, like when I'm hearing like verbal stories and whatnot, like from audio and stuff like that, I have a weird imagination. It helps build my imagination. That's why I'm good at making up stories,
Mm-hmm.
making stories and stuff like that. So it helps. Trust me, it's good.
So so what do you feel is unique about growing up Jamaican? Maybe particularly in a rural part or whatever, but what do you feel is unique?
Culture,
Mm-hmm.
it's Jamaica is out of many one people, but there's still the culture of like African is strong, and this is mostly, I would say, people like the Rastafarian. I think I used to look. I have uncles and like people who were like Rastafarians and stuff like that, who instill like an African culture and talk about Marcus Garvey and you know um, stuff like that. And yeah, it's also a Christian country too, so it's a mix. It's a mixture of things there in Jamaica. Yeah, it's a mixture of things. Yeah.
What is your favorite custom or tradition from your culture, or like what is your favorite tradition your family did growing up?
Oh, let me see. Well, I would just say, oh, okay. Well, it's not like, it's like I used to like when my cousin from the city come during the summer to visit.
Yeah.
I get to do all the chores that I do. I'm like, you guys are like sitting and not doing stuff. Finally, you guys get to fetch water from the well,
Yeah.
and, stuff like that. Climb a tree, have like usually they'll get fruits bought in the city. No, we have to climb and go get our fruits in the country. So I
Right.
like those times.
Mhm.
Get together. Church was good too. Church was really good. Church was basically small, small community, and everybody meets up there. So those were like good events,
Yeah.
and, christenings and stuff like that. I used to like, and I used to be the guy who they give the Bible to read, and I used to like make like this eloquent kind of thing, and I just read. So
Nice.
yeah, so yeah, I always look forward to those little moments when I was growing up, and I think those moments really. I was always at the time I was like, but
Yeah.
when I grow older, I'm like, those are great treasures moments.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like being from America and hearing about, some people are from the north and then they got to go down south to their cousins and like do all
Yeah.
that stuff. You never hear the perspective of the people who live down there, like, yeah, y'all got to come help.
Yeah. Yeah.
you I only heard about the like people going down, like, oh, and then I had a best friend in high school.
Mhm.
She would go visit her cousins in like Alabama for like 2 weeks and then come back with like an Alabama accent.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be like, you was just there for 2 weeks. How you just talk so country?
Yeah. That's how it goes with my cousin and stuff like that. And I have it was really good time because my grandmother again, like the food is good, amazing. It's like a home cook, like you get the sweet potato pudding and sorrel and various natural juices and stuff like that.
Yeah.
None of the pop stuff and stuff like that, just like natural juice that come from our farm. So Yeah, that was good times with my cousins. Yeah.
So go more into your journey in like art and animation during your childhood, like up until high school.
Okay, so thank you for asking that. Uh, so yes, with the drawing from the comic strips, it led me to liking art in grade nine. Grade nine in Jamaica, like art wasn't really pushed. Um, but like on Fridays, we'll get a little bit of art stuff like that, and I'll just draw. I'll just draw like crazy. I'll just draw stuff, anything. I'll just look and draw and stuff like that. But my eyes were opened up when I reached high school.
Hmm.
My high school was, for anybody, St. Diego High School in Jamaica. That's a very, very famous high school
Hmm.
in Jamaica. So when I started St. Diego High School, and I went into art class, I realized that I couldn't draw. Really, I couldn't draw because I started meeting up on construction, gesture, composition, texture, all the element of art, and I'm like, Dragon Ball Z, I have one. Anime, the teacher is like, sorry, we don't draw anime in here. Sorry.
Right.
That was a nice Wolverine that I draw last night. But yeah, but then I took a step back and I got serious about art. A lot of kids weren't really interested in art, but like there was a clique, a art clique. Like you have history nerds,
Hmm.
biology nerds, physics nerds. I was in the art nerd group and the computer nerd. Somebody sneak in like a computer magazine, and then we saw Pixar behind the scenes.
Right.
They're like, this is how they make the Toy Story. I'm like, what? Toy Story this animated art and technology? I'm like, hey, I have to learn the computer. I have to learn that. And these things we used to have to sneak them in school and stuff like that. A guy would be like, knock on my chair and like, wait, check this out. They low pass it to me and during maths class, and they're like, hey, wait, look at this. It's the latest. It's the Final Fantasy 7. So yeah, so with reading about that, and also one of my art teacher, what I got better at actually doing the fine art stuff.
Hmm.
Art teacher, I was doing a graphics piece just by making logos, drawing logos and stuff like that. One of the teacher came over and said his name is Mr. Collins.
Hmm.
Rest in peace to him. He died a few years ago. And what he's like, Wayne, you could do computer graphics. You could do graphics or graphic design. He just said graphics. He wasn't sure about animation.
Hmm.
He said, I'm like, I could. He's like, I could. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you could do it. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Okay. So I I looked up the subjects that I needed to pass to get into college for art or film or animation. So in my final couple of years in high school, I just focused myself to just like doing my best into getting those subjects because you have to. I don't know how it is in America, but in Jamaica, we have this thing called the O levels and the A levels.
Hmm.
The O levels is like a number of subjects that you have to pass, like the maths, the English, the history. So if, like for example, I made up my mind and I passed the amount that was required, including art. I finished with an A plus plus in art. Um, I think I won the award for that year for art.
Nice.
I was known as the draw artist. I remember everybody from biology is like, hey, come draw this plant for me. I'm like, what? I get to draw? Sure. And all the girls used to come by and say, hey, wait, draw the heart for me. The heart, you know. I used to be that guy. I used to be the guy who could draw. So, but yeah, that's how it shaped. High school really shaped myself. Like, I after that art teacher talked to me about the graphics, it really point me into a direction where I started to do some more research
Hmm.
about animation and position myself to get into college to go pursue it. You know, so that's how that part turned out, and that's how high school finished, and I migrated to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like even though your teacher didn't really know anything, that little push is like really
Yeah.
important for
Yeah.
artists. That's kind of why my platform is the way it is, because like I didn't find animation as occurred to my senior year of high school. So like that little push where you have that support, like where you're like where your parents and your grandmother are supportive of your artistic
My
journey.
my grandmother was like, because I was always a smart B student,
Mm-hmm.
and I was always doing work, right? So my grandmother is like, anything you want to do, really. My
Mm-hmm.
mom is like, as long as you're not getting into trouble, you're fine. If you want to be a soldier or a police, it's just do your work. It's gonna come. Like all those avenues are gonna open up. If you want
Yeah.
to be a doctor, just push yourself in those direction. So I kind of they just kind of give me free reign to just like be a kid, and as a young adult coming up, I was able to just get serious and position myself into my career that I want, that I see myself doing. Yeah.
Um, so before we get into your migration to Canada, like I always list projects that people have worked on, just in case someone out there is like, "Oh, I know a Black person who worked
Yeah.
on."
Yeah.
You worked on Weibaloo, The
Yeah.
Nut Job,
Yes.
and feel free to correct me because sometimes IMDb is wrong. But
Yeah.
Barbie and Her Sisters and the Great Puppy Adventure,
Yeah.
Thomas and Friends,
Mhm.
Spark, A Space Tale,
Yep.
Troll Hunters, Tales of Arcadia, True
Yep.
the Rainbow Kingdom, Rusty Rivets, Roger Rob, Kingdom Builders, Fancy Nancy, the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, Alien TV, and Super Giant Robot Brothers.
Yes. That's the movie that I worked on. Yes. Yeah. That's
So
the, yeah.
when you migrated to Canada, like was it like being in was it scary or were you just like focused? Like how did you choose Canada and like what was the process for that?
Okay. So um I like for example my stepdad at the time, he was in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
He sent for the whole family to come in Canada after high school. Or in 2002, he sent for everybody. So he filed for everybody, and he sent for. He's like, I have to finish school first or be in school to migrate.
Yeah.
So I ended up coming also, and as soon as I landed in Canada, there was Sheridan College, and there was other animation school. There's a school called Toronto Film School.
Mhm.
They had an animation program back in 2003, and just to backtrack a bit, I didn't know to use a computer when I came here, and it was computer animation. I was like, so the school gave me a course. I did a course, a 3 months course
Mhm.
called Intro to the Mac,
Okay.
right? And I finished that course, and then when I entered into the animation program, they were using PC. So I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
because like Mac was it? They didn't even make programs for like Mac.
yeah, they had one program called Apple Shake at the time. It's a compositing software. It's like
Mhm.
way back. That's old school compositing software. But they had a Mac version for it, but then they have a PC version because it was made by Apple. It was
Mhm.
made by Apple. That Shake. It was a good software. But yeah, so I got into the 3D animation program at Toronto Film School back in 2003.
Mhm.
Again, I was a B student. I was a B student. I did my work, and I went above and beyond to understand the content that the lecturers were teaching. Um, I was an A student at all. That work ethic was there,
Yeah.
just to push through. And then after it was good. It was a good experience in the school.
Mhm.
After I graduated, I didn't get a job.
Mm.
Didn't get a job right away, but I had a job, like a non-art job.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked my non-art job, and I come home and then just be on my computer, just doing art, checking out DeviantArt at the time,
Yeah.
checking out DeviantArt every day, see how other artists position their portfolios. And in college, they actually teach us general to be a generalist.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, so when I came out, I started narrowing down things that I was good at, you know? So I was like, there's no way I'm good at anime. I don't have the patience to be an animator at all, trust me. So I don't have the patience for that. That's yes. But one thing I know I'm good at was painting textures.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm good. I was all right at modeling, and I was all right at lighting and compositing.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of leaned to that side, and I went after other knowledge. Digital tutors was out back then.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Norman DVDs were coming out. So the lessons on the web after my non-art job, the web was just getting big with like online tutorials, DVDs for training, and I just gravitate towards that. I just gravitate and learn as much as possible, and yeah, I just learn as much as possible. Yeah, I don't know if you have any more questions.
Yeah,
So,
like when you're talking about your grades, it's kind of funny because I graduated from high school like 10th in my class, like with a 3.9, but college 2.7. It's like
yeah,
it was cool because I didn't have this like smart people sometimes have this like existential crisis where it's like, oh my god, I was like, nope, this is hard. Like I'm on the quarter system.
yeah,
They don't really care about my GPA in animation.
yeah,
Excuses. You know,
yeah,
there. I'm in the animation industry and I had a 2.7 graduating from college.
yeah. I know. Yeah, mine was I just passed, and you know, I had a demo reel.
Yeah.
Um, I was my demo reel was leading towards motion graphics.
Mm-hmm.
I was okay with motion graphics because I was building all these heads-up displays
Yeah.
for like the interior of a spaceship, and I had like an alien character just like pressing up the heads-up displays, all that kind of like in Tony Stark's helmets,
Yeah.
those kind of thing. I was good at that,
Mm-hmm.
and so I actually after I graduated, I didn't get a job, but I actually had interviews.
Yeah.
I just didn't get the job yet, not yet, but I didn't give up. I didn't give up.
So how did you get involved with the music video?
Oh, so the music video, my friend from California, I met a guy named Adele Fortan.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Iran, and he he and I became best friends because we like well I also like soccer football. We also like football too. So
Yeah.
so we became best friend, and I was just working my non-art job, and he's like, wait, we have to make a music video. I know this famous singer from my home country, and we could use this and we could get paid. He's famous. Like, is a famous guy? He's like, yeah. And then I packed up all my stuff, moved out from my apartment, and I go all the way with him in his basement to work on this music video. This music video experience was again I was a generalist because
Mm-hmm.
we were the one who were creating every single thing. The music video was the starting point for my career.
Yeah.
It turned out to be that. So it was a collaborative project, and so I'm just saying to students out there who came out of school and your demo reel is not up to the par yet, don't be scared. Sometimes you need to do a collaborative project.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably not going to be paid or whatnot, but yeah, like for example, we finished the music video in 6 months. We got paid $3,000 Canadian. Yeah, so we split it between three of us, and But when we're done, once we're finished the music video, we have so much content for our demo reels, new demo reels.
Mm-hmm.
and we had new titles.
Right.
Because we just did so many things. So my friend, he got a job. He got a job and moved away in the industry. Um, I got a teaching assistant job at the school that I was working through with my demo reel,
Mm-hmm.
new demo reel. And the school that I attended, Toronto, so I had a teaching assistant job there. So I went back there. I
Nice.
I created some more content because my demo reel was a music video, and then I created a little. I was making like a little short film.
Mm-hmm.
Who created had that resource for me to add more stuff to my reel,
Mm-hmm.
and I did. I did. So fast forward to around like 2007, 8.
Mm-hmm.
I was no longer working at the school, but I had made so much networking
Yeah.
work. I made so much link because the school hire industry professionals, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I'm like, you don't know if this place is hiring? They're like, wait, just send me a demo reel, and I'll pass it on. And they did. At one point, I almost worked on one of the underworld
Oh.
movies, almost. But maybe I was too expensive. I was too expensive because another thing, when you graduate and they ask you what's your salary expectation. I think I failed there because I was a junior and I'm like 50K? No, no, sorry.
that's
Sorry.
why that's why I try to, like, when I'm interviewing at places, I try to ask for the salary range, and sometimes they'll come back like, oh, but what do you want? I'm like, no, I feel more comfortable with the salary range, because either you'll say too high, or it'll be lower than
Yeah,
you're used to, but you're willing to accept it
yeah,
depending on your situation. So I like
yeah,
to ask companies for the salary range, and
yeah.
just like, if they try to get me to respond, I'm like, nope, salary range, please.
Yeah, I usually do that. Now that I gain more experience, um, um, it's so I'm like, you know what? What do you guys pay for artists with my experience?
Right.
I'd love to see what you guys have and we could talk over this.
Mm-hmm.
I remember asking, speaking of salary explanation, right? I remember asking very low at one point. I just marked okay that what I think I work, but the company gave me more. So I was like, wow, okay, So that was one scenario. So anyway, so after like 2007, I networked with the teachers that were industry professionals,
Mm-hmm.
and they passed on my reel to a studio, and the studio called me in Toronto 2009 for the first animated series called Weebaloo.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in as a modeling, texturing, and rigging artist. And the interview was really cool. The guy is like, Wayne, sorry, we can only pay you 800 a week. I'm like, 800 a week? I was getting paid like $200 a week. Bring it on. Like, when do I start? He's like, January 5th. I'm like, man, okay, all right. So that's how my career started. In
Yeah.
the industry. That's how, like, my career. Well, this music video, but then the actual industry job. That was it. That
Yeah.
was it.
So something that I say is, like, all animation is tedious. It's just like, which tediousness do you like? So you were trained as a generalist, you started as a generalist, but like, how did you get into the specialty of surfacing?
Okay, so well, as I said, I love painting textures,
Mm-hmm.
and I learn over time. I learn. For example, my next job after Webaloo, I learn more about materials,
Mm-hmm.
material properties, working with studios. Like, for example, at Toolbox Entertainment, when I was working on that job, that was my first feature film. And
Mm-hmm.
I was working with a renderer called 3D Light. It's a RenderMan similar to RenderMan.
Mm-hmm.
And the leads taught me about shaders because it wasn't just about painting. It's
Right.
not like a hand painted video games. It wasn't like that. I thought it was that, the teacher painting, but it wasn't. It was about shader. What does metal look like? What does glass look like? What does a frosted glass look like? What does a rust metal look like? What does cloth look like? like with the little sheen on it and all that kind of stuff with Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all those material, I learned about material properties, and that's how I fell in love with it. And I'm still learning, but
Hmm.
because like every student that I've been since, it's a different setup. Meaning, they might be using Redshift, they might be using RenderMan, they might be using Arnold, they might be using Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so yeah, that's how it was. Yeah.
For the people watching that are not familiar, can you kind of explain what a surfacing artist does?
Surfacing artist is responsible. Surfacing artist, well, surfacing artist is an artist. It is similar, like in the States. I think in the States you guys call it look development,
Hmm.
not visual development. Just look development. I think I saw something from Disney, like
Hmm.
on Disney website. They're like, okay, we're looking for a look development artist, but really, we call it surfacing in Canada.
Hmm.
So you're responsible for creating the shaders and the texture.
Hmm.
So in VFX, visual effects, you have the texture artist. The texture artist sometimes does not play around with it does not play around with the shader qualities.
Hmm.
You just create the texture, and then another guy, look development artist, working on this. But in the surface artist case, he does both of them. He
Okay.
does the texturing and he does the shader work for characters, environments, props, vehicles, and so forth. So yeah, that's a surfacing artist. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I go talk to kids, I tell them like, when I explain the different levels, I say like when you model a object, it's all gray, and so I call texturing and surfacing like making it look pretty, and so and like
That's,
Wayne said, you're making it look like wood, you're making it look like plastic, you're making it look like metal, so all those properties have to be done by a person. So I always call it making it look pretty.
yeah, that's it. That's basically it. That's well said. Yes.
um, let's see. What do you consider your biggest breakthrough in your career, or if you've had multiple breakthroughs?
My biggest breakthrough was working on the nut job, the feature film. Feature film was my biggest breakthrough.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that was what was my biggest. I went home to Jamaica to see it. I
Mhm.
flew home to Jamaica to see it in a Jamaican theater,
Nice.
and I was dating. I was dating at the time, so
Mhm.
I brought my lady with me, and she was from Jamaica too, and like we stand there, and the national anthem of Jamaica plays, and I shed a tear, man. I was like bawling. I was crying out my eyes, and I felt very proud. That was
Yeah.
a big moment for me.
Mhm.
Big moment for me, and all my family were happy, and my friends were happy, and because they knew I was working on stuff,
Right.
but they finally saw that,
Mhm.
and then after that, I went on to this speaking to students who were in animation in Jamaica because around the 2014 animation had a big push in Jamaica.
Mhm.
King's Tunes, King
Yeah.
Tunes, yeah, and the school started, and also there's a group on Facebook called Jan
Mhm.
that is a Jamaican animation group that I joined, and I reach out to students, and they recognize me. They're like, "Hey, that's the guy that worked on the Nut Job." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, thank you." All right, but I sort of made myself available to after that breakthrough. I started made myself available to up and coming artists
Yeah.
because I'm not really a stuck up guy or like not like that. Like I believe it. I think I watched something with I think I watched something online where they're like, pass it on or something like that. Pass on the knowledge. I believe in that, especially in our community.
Mhm.
I believe in passing on knowledge. If I could, I believe if I could out of 10, if I could encourage or help 5 people out of 10, like especially people of color,
Mm-hmm.
anybody really, but especially people of color, because there are not a lot of us in the industry. Well, we're growing though. We're
Yeah.
we're coming up, but just to encourage others who might not think that there's a career. I made it my point of duty to encourage and mentor people, for my community, and doesn't have to be Jamaican, could be American, Canadian, Canadian kids. I'm just like I'm just that kind of person. I became that kind of person because like after nut job, I became that kind of person, like really reaching back and giving back knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. The point of me interviewing so many people is like, we are few, but there are more than we realize.
Yeah, that's true. It's a lot of us, man. I thought we were like. I'm like. I'm like. That's a black guy over there. He's just started. He started today. I'm like, hey, you know. And I had a really interesting story to tell. On the nut job,
Mm-hmm.
there was a black guy.
Mm-hmm.
I I I don't know if he wanted to say his name. His name is Leon Gittins or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's an animator.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I saw the guy. He's from England, but he came over to America to work in animation and play basketball, I think. And well, anyway, he came to Canada to work on another job for a little bit. I was there. I'm like, Leon, but I never said anything to the guy. Anyways, in this family group on Facebook, my family, he posts something. I'm like, who's this guy posting in my family group? It turns out we're related. I'm like, cousin. I'm like, oh my god. But yeah, we're cousins. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm like, who's this black guy animating this character? I'm like, okay, there's another black guy here.
Illustrator.
Yeah, and it turns out in that family group that me and him were dating. And I think he works on Spider-Man, the game. He was working at Insomniac. And yeah, that was like a wow moment for me. So
Yeah.
I wasn't the only one in my family that loves animation and art.
Nice. So how did you get into doing children's books?
Oh, children's books now in 2016, my daughter Olivia was born,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to do digital painting on the side, very highly rendered digital paintings, and then I changed my style because I changed it to a more simpler style. It's not easy. Especially when you do like 32 pages per book, right? Oh my God, you're drawing like and painting like crazy.
I've done children's books in the past, and I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah. First of all, you have to plan. You have to do your thumbnail sketches, line them up.
Mhm.
If they're not working, you're gonna have to eliminate a few, and then once you're happy, especially I'm working in animation full time. Plus, this is just like a side project, but I still need to get it out. Right? I started. I wrote a story for myself,
Mm-hmm.
but then one of my classmates from St. Jago High School from Jamaica, she's here in Canada too. She reached out and she gave me her book, and she gave me her manuscript in 2016, and I just started I'm like halfway done illustrating it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Denver and the Mango Tree.
Mm-hmm.
It started. I'm like 3/4 way done with illustrating it. And she's given me her book so long, and that's how I venture into the children's book thing. And also, in addition to that, my daughter, for example, I thought that these are some of the stories that I love my daughter. There's so many stories I have that I love my daughter to know and read about it. And kudos to the creators of colors, because I saw Here Love.
Yeah.
And I love this Karma. There's a show called Karma on
World.
Netflix. It's like shows like that. I see them coming out, and I think it's a good thing. I never used to see characters that look like me in books or video games or animated movies and stuff like that. So it's good that we're actually making a change and going into a direction where we could include all kids of color and different backgrounds, nationalities and whatnot. So yeah, that's how I got into the children book thing. Yeah.
Something I forgot I want to ask you, like what are some of your favorite stories that your grandmother told you?
Oh, and Nancy stories.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy, yeah, and Nancy and about the rolling calf. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a bull. I don't know. I think she said the bull it's like a guy, a bull with a human body, but he has like a bull head and he breathes fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the only way you have to get rid of him is to like you have to run to a crossroad or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the cross, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like those stories from her. My grandmother is always making up some duppy stories about her and how she run away from a duppy, and I'm like, Grandma, you were there? Sure, you sure it was duppy? We call them duppies in Jamaica. Duppy stories. Yeah. So, but yeah, she find her way how to entertain me without the television and stuff like that. She had her ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you like about teaching?
Sorry.
What do you like about teaching?
Okay, so teaching. Again, this is another goal of mine where I want to reach back and educate as much people as possible from my community, my country. So I took on a job as a animation lecturer at Edmond College. That's one of the top art school in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
And I just teach a few hours, just put in a few hours.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if like a school in America would call me up and say, hey, Wayne, can you do a little speech
Mm-hmm.
about, show us a little demo. I have, as long as I could like noodle it in my schedule, I will do it. I'll do it. So I really like teaching a lot, the giving back, sharing knowledge kind of thing. And also, I don't think I know everything. So if, by experimenting and showing students stuff, if students, a lot of these students nowadays, they are smart.
Mm-hmm.
They could point out a few things and like, hey, sir, why didn't you do it that way? I'm like, really? I was testing you. And you passed, man. Okay, I'll do it this way. So yeah, I like that about teaching, and that's why I venture into that area.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little few hours a week, that's good. Right now we're gonna be back, I think, for September, but right now there's no teaching from me until then. Yeah. But I love it. Yeah.
What have you learned throughout your life and career that would be beneficial advice to others?
Always just stay busy. Stay busy.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to miss those parties that your friends are keeping. Some of these animation craft and the art craft, it takes time to develop. You're not gonna get it the first time. Always keep trying. You're not gonna get it the first time. Always keep trying. Just be passionate about it. Um, you know, Pick areas that you're good at and go after that areas.
Yeah.
Collaborate with people, like-minded people, like for people. Just collaborate, see how that works. Yeah, those are my advice. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
With having to jump from project to project in your career, what have you learned about being able to find that next job?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be very honest. In the beginning of my career, it gave me a lot of anxiety because it's like, oh my God, my contract is running out. My contract is running out. I got a year contract here. My contract is running out. I'm gonna have to look for another job. That was a big anxiety, and it pays good. Trust me, it pays good, but then you don't know the next 3 months. For example, if you're out of a job for 3 months, you might blow through that money already, right? So those are all those anxiety and stuff like that. But lately, since 2000, since the pandemic, I see studios been pumping out contents, and for example, in America and Canada, there's always studios looking for artists. I think they're shorter artists right now. They're short. They're very short. I think that they're short because like for my job, they're like every time you see a service information goes up, rigging, animation, modeling, they're looking for everybody. So, um, that just so for example, I'm able to, especially working from home. Like I also, in addition to, I have anxiety. I have anxiety. I have like a social anxiety thing. The work from home kind of helped me better.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm able to juggle multiple projects. Like I'm doing the book, plus I'm doing like job, plus I'm doing the teaching, all from my desk in my house here.
Yeah.
I just get up in the morning, refresh myself, grab tea, and turn on some music a little bit, and then I start to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
So with living in Canada, you gave us some insight into like how you got there. But have you had the same visa the entire time you've been in Canada, or what has been your journey, that process for like visa and stuff?
Oh, so coming to Canada, I came here as a landed immigrant because my stepdad was a citizen and he filed for us. So I came as a landed right away immigrant, right? So we're meaning I could go to school. I wasn't just a citizen though. I was a citizen of Canada. But I came in as a landed immigrant. So I don't know what's the equivalent to that in the United States. Is that when you get your green card or something? I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a card. It was just a card. You get a card, and I could get jobs right away. I could get jobs like Canadians get, and I could go to school. I wasn't categorized as an international student. I get the normal things. So
Okay.
and then after that, then a few years later, I did my citizenship.
Okay.
Became a Canadian citizen.
How hard or easy is it to become a Canadian citizen?
Oh, it's not hard. Just Canada is a country that it's a very welcoming country, and as long as you be humble and work hard, it's stuff is there for you to excel. Yeah, so it wasn't that hard at all to become citizen. Want you to stay on the good part, stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
To stay on your purpose and whatnot, and then things just happen. Good things happen.
Has being Black or a foreigner impacted your career in any way in a predominantly white industry?
Well, I when I got basically when I got in industry, for example, there wasn't a lot of Black people in the industry for me like at the time. So the people who helped me are white people, like my friends. Those just white people helping me out and helping me, linking me up with. And in terms of racism, I don't know if I saw it directly, maybe indirectly, maybe in like not giving me a raise or not renewing my contract. I don't know how the behind the scenes stuff, but directly thrown at me, I've never experienced anything like that. I know one of my Caucasian friends who are always sending me job. Like for example, this guy he always like message me and say I have a friend from India, for example. He's like, wait, are you working? Where are you now? Are you looking for anything? I'm like, sorry, I'm good. I have work up to my eyeballs now. Sorry, thank you though. So these people, or usually like my mentor and stuff like that. And animation in the animation industry, I think you have to just prepare to live a rock star life. You're gonna be on the road. You're
Yeah.
gonna be on the road now with a lot of remote work opening up. It's okay. It's a new thing. It's a new way of working. But before it was kind of like, hey, just prepare to be on the road. You might be in Vancouver, you might be in Montreal, you might be in Toronto. So you might be in the US. Maybe you get a job at DreamWorks or something like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, like it's I haven't experienced any kind of racism directly, like a direct, like, hey, get out, you're black. I've never experienced anything like that. Nothing. Not in Canada anymore.
What do you feel is the importance of actually, what are your thoughts on getting more content with Caribbean characters in TV and movies?
It's a very good question. This is where my side projects comes in play because they're all Caribbean characters. Especially I have stuff with Anansi in it and how we tell Anansi's story. Anansi's story is an African story, it's a West African story. But like Jamaican have their own version and stuff like that, and everybody have their own Anansi story.
Right.
So, I've in my spare time, I develop characters, simple character like a character on a farm, for example. Like I grew up, I just, all my character and content side projects are related to how I grew up, because it's kind of like I'm doing this master illustration course right now, called I'm doing this project where they ask, it's called a creative eye, so they're asking to tell about yourself and whatnot. So basically, all my artwork is for my daughter. Really, it's
Yeah.
like a map. It's a map. It's like, hey, Daddy used to do this when
Hmm.
he was growing up. Daddy used to do that, and so forth. So it's like a pathway for her to like she lived with her. So she lived majority of the time with her mom. So she just visits me. So whenever she comes around me,
Hmm.
or I'll just mail her stuff in the mail and say, hey, check this drawing out. Write a little note. Stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's mainly to educate her about her dad and her
Yeah.
dad's journey. Yeah. So that's how I use my art nowadays. And it's mostly Caribbean characters and backgrounds. Yeah.
What have you decided is your purpose in regarding to representing Jamaican or Caribbean people in animation?
Purpose? Just keep being me. Keep being me and reach out. As I said, reach back and help. That's a big thing for me. Uh, Help the youths.
Hmm.
Um, and like how I'm in Canada right now, it's not only limited to Jamaica.
Hmm.
It's just youths, people of color, mainly for people of color, because I don't know, like, sometimes like a lot of youths just need direction from our communities, and I want to be that person.
Yeah.
Hey, you good at art? Not even just art. You could dance. You could make craft.
Hmm.
You could crochet. I have a cousin right now. She does crochet, and I'm her biggest fan. Stuff like that. So I just like help people find their niche and
Hmm.
just like be great at it. I just want to point people and just say, hey, you know what? It's gonna take time. It's
Yeah.
gonna take time, but like I want to be that impact and I want to be that person. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What would you say is like the biggest dream of like being able to reach back to Jamaica? Like, what if you had any thoughts of like, I wish I could do this one?
Biggest dream is like getting this first book out. It's a Jamaican book. Getting
Hmm.
the first book out, and biggest top dream is to actually create an animated series or animated short film about Jamaica, and hopefully, like for example, Here Love got picked up by Netflix. Netflix, right? One of them got picked up by Netflix. I
Now
think.
it's creating Young Love. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, something. I forgot. Yeah, how
Yeah.
bad. Sorry. I have a lot on my mind. Yeah. So one of these series get picked up by Netflix or whatnot. So I just have the hopes. Like, there's a lot of streaming platform now. You have like Apple TV. They're pumping out content, animation content. So I want to have that content created, Caribbean content created. That's my biggest. That's the next step actually for me. That's the next step. That's the next step. Yeah, that's my next step. Just create it and just sell it. Sell it. Yeah. Yeah. One of my biggest inspiration to go to that level is the guy that created Lucas the Spider.
Yeah.
Is his story is a big. I'm like, oh, man, that's remind me of myself. So yeah, that's a big inspiration for me. Yeah, to go to the next step.
What do you hope Jamaican creatives are doing in this current landscape that you wish you could have done? So like there's computers, there's access to YouTube, the internet, and all this. What do you hope Jamaican creatives are doing that you wish you could have done back then?
I wish. Well, sorry. Repeat the question.
What do you hope Jamaican creatives are doing in this current landscape of access that you wish you could have done if you had it?
Oh,
Back then.
oh well, platforms like yours, we didn't have it. We didn't see people of like us that work in the industry that we want to go in. I wish I had something. I would have wished I had something back then. Remember, it took a teacher to say, "Hey, you can do graphics." What is graphics? You can do graphics, man. It took a teacher like that. But with platforms like yours and color of motion, for example, it kind of does say, yeah, you're welcome too. You're welcome. You can do it.
Yeah.
So I wish those platforms were around back then.
So my last question: if someone was producing a documentary about you, what things would you want them to highlight about your life outside of your work in animation?
How I grew up in Jamaica, in the country. Yeah. Yeah, with donkeys and goats and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Going to the market, go to the farmers market and stuff like that, and bring in produce to the market to get sold. My whole life story, growing up in Clarendon, is a big part of me. I would love to get that documented.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing my own little thing with the side project that I'm doing for my daughter.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a documenting things to show her. And surprisingly, that same community, her mom is also from that community that I grew up. So,
Okay.
It's a little bit for her to, say, hey, my dad is from here, my mom is from here. There's a little roadmap for her.
So where can people follow you if they want to see your art?
Okay, so right now I have I'm on Instagram at Drawtis018, and I post little bits and pieces on there. In terms of like blog and stuff, I have a Tumblr account. Let me see if I could paste it in the chat.
I already got it.
Oh, you got it?
What it is?
Yeah.
Just tell people what it is. I'll have it in the description. So.
Yeah. So yeah, you can find me on Tumblr, and I'm on Facebook. Anybody can reach out to me on Facebook and stuff like that. I'm not really taking commissions right now. I'm so busy with work and trying to finish the book. So.
Don't you have a Facebook group too, or?
Sorry.
Don't you have a Facebook group?
I have a Facebook group called Drawtis.
Okay.
I hardly post anything in there lately because I'm just like super busy. But you can anybody can reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, anytime. I'm even up. I'm one of those guys who are up like 12 o'clock in the night, 1 o'clock, doing art. So if I see a message coming in and I'm awake, I respond to you. If you have any question, I I don't feel like I'm above anybody to not respond and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I'll just message, I'll just talk to you. A lot of times young artists message me and say, hey, Wayne, what do you think of this character? I'm like, it's good, man. Maybe tweak this and, a little bit. That's my opinion anyways.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they can reach me, reach me anywhere on Instagram, Facebook, and shoot me a message anytime. Okay?
And thank you, Wayne, for allowing me to highlight you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Deborah. Thanks for your platform. To hope I'm able to inspire somebody out there. You know, take a step and use their art and their art to inspire the world and get in the industry. There's plenty of space. You just gotta really stick out your toe and go after your dreams. Yeah, thank you for having me.
And to everyone out there, I want you to like So I Know It's Real, comment and tell me how you feel, subscribe to Citadel, and sign up for post notifications to show your zeal. And I see you in the next video. Bless. Peace.